Hello everyone. It's Maddie with Spectrum Art Creations, and today we're going to make this super fun mixed media tag. I hope you will join me. We're going to start with our clear scrap shaker tag as the base. It comes with all the pieces that you need, and I'll try to share with you as we go along the products that I'm using as well. In case you have any questions, of course, you can always leave them down below. But you can see it comes with rings, it comes with the plastic pieces as well, and the base. Now the plastic pieces have a protective film on them, okay? And you need to remove it on both sides from each of the lenses, right? From each of the acetate pieces. They're really nice and thick acetate, and it peels usually quite easily. Of course, however, I struggle with my fingers, so I am using my rose gold pokey tool here, and just being very gentle because, of course, it is a pokey tool. You could scratch your window piece. However, if you just kind of pick it from the very edge, you should be okay, because we are going to add some ring, and you can see how perfectly lovely and clear those pieces are. Okay, we're going to remove the other two. And then, of course, I want to share with you that I've given mine a steampunk kind of a feel, but we were talking when we were first looking at this product, which is in stock in our online store. Of course, if it's not currently in stock, just know that it will be in stock in a matter of days, because I have another incoming order with some more of these pieces. But we were talking about how fun all the different themes that you could make. You could do a fairy. I want to do a fairy and add some like little stars and stuff. You could do a nature one. You could do a baby. I mean, you can make this any theme at all. You could do an Alice, of course, in Wonderland, and so much more. So I can't wait to see what you guys made. But I am using the Lady Vagabond from Stamperia 6x6 pad. And yes, we still have these in stock. So if you're looking for a 6x6 to add to your stash, which are no more, I haven't seen them in quite a few collections now. So I don't know that they're going to be making any more 6x6 pads. But we still have them. And here, let me flip through it really quick so you guys can take a look at that and how beautiful these pages are. You can see that there's rust, there's typewriters, there's even a kitty cat with a hat, all kinds of frames as well, and a study, and some additional ephemera. I like this purple piece a lot because I thought that if we use this girl right here, she's got the purple stockings, and it will really set off. But let's go ahead and cut some pieces out for the front, the back, and of course our focal point. So I'm just going to cut those out really quick, and you can see them here. You do that by simply tracing your tag, obviously. And this is the girl that's going to be our focal point. This is the other, that one half of a page. And then the purple one is right here. That's what it looks like. Again, simply trace your tag and then cut your pieces to fit. Okay, so we know what our front, back, and focal points are going to be. So we're going to add some chipboard. I'm using the Sir Vagabond, also from Stamperia. It's, I've used this pack several times, but I still have plenty of it left. You can see all the beautiful pieces, but you can mix and match because it has kind of like the same colors, kind of, sort of, and it also has a lot of steampunk elements. In addition to, I'm going to be using these beautiful little gears from our Etsy store. It is a little box that comes with all kinds of lightweight metal pieces, gears, and I think they're going to be perfect for incorporating throughout the layout as well as in the shaker element. Okay, we're going to use some paint. So I am going to grab my Stamperia Anthracite, which is like a grayish black color, almost like a charcoal, really pretty. And my favorite brush is, of course, a Dina Wakley mixed media brush. I am using the 1/2 inch one. And all we're going to do is we're going to paint the outside of this. Remember, we don't really need to worry about the middle because we're going to be adding paper. But we're going to add it throughout the edges as well as the inner circle. And then I'm also going to do the circles as well. When it comes to the circles though, we need to do all the sides. Do you really have to? No, but it just takes a second, and you just want to make sure that you do not have anything kind of showing through. So I did front, back, inside, and outside of my circles. And once those are all painted, we will be ready for the next step. Now, the next step is optional, but I think it does lend quite a bit to the project, which is using our paper distressor in order to rough up the edges. So I'm going to simply run the distress tool through the edges of, my paper edges. And you can see here how it makes it kind of jagged. And I think that really gives it a really neat finish. It also works really well for shabby chic or vintage looks. So it just kind of ages the paper, breaks it up, gives it some texture. And again, anything that we can do to add texture, just like we were talking about the chipboard, which gives it not only different levels, therefore you have depth, you have different textures with the chipboard versus the paper versus the wood, versus the plastic and the metal we're going to incorporate. So anything that you can do to continue to bring in different elements and change up things to add interest to your composition is going to be a plus. Okay, we're using Spectrum Art Creations decoupage glue. Perfect for decoupaging, adhering, and also our silicone brush. The glue is also excellent in your precision glue press. I put it inside of my Petunia precision glue press. Works fantastic. But it really, really shines when it comes to just being able to adhering papers and napkins, decoupage papers, collaging, that sort of stuff. So we're going to apply that all over our main tag, and then we're simply going to adhere the papers. And I'm going to do that for both the front and the back. To ensure that I have really good adhesion, I'm also going to use my ergonomic bone folder and just kind of run it through, again, just to ensure that everything is well adhered. We want to make sure we have a nice solid base, clean up any excess we might have, and then we're going to use the crocodile in order to punch out that hole. We're going to do one side, and then, of course, we can see where we're going to be punching using the larger of the two. I'm going to punch one side, and then I'm going to adhere the other side, and then I'll be able to see from the side that I just glued and punched the hole again. So let's do that again for the back, and this time I'm adding my purple papers. Again, I'm super excited to see what you guys come up with. As a reminder, in case I failed to mention this, all of the items that you see in this video and that I'm using and thousands more are available at spectrumartcreations.com. So if you need anything that you see here, if you see anything that inspires you, you can go check out the online store as well as the Etsy store, including the glass mat that is on my desk right now. It is like my favorite glass mat now. This is the Studio Light magnetic mat. So it's glass, tempered glass that is, and it is magnetic as well. So I can use my magnets to hold down stencils or papers or anything that I'm doing. It's great for your gel press as well, for gel plating. So many uses. Love this thing. Love my Lisa Horton too, my ultimate tool, but oh, this glass mat is just great. I love being able to clean up so easily. All right, we have the front and the back done. There we go. And hopefully your papers are on there as well. As I mentioned, now we can see the hole from the reverse side, and we're going to punch that again. And now we have perfect placement. Okay, I'm using one of our stencils. We have thousands of stencils and the Embossed dauber. And what I'm going to do is roughly, I'm not trying to be like super careful. Again, I'm going for that grunge look. I'm going to create something, a page breaker, let's call it that way. Whenever you have a page and you want to add some mixed media, your goal is to, of course, draw the eye and be able to create different elements, as we had mentioned, right? Because that is what mixed media is all about, is including everything but the kitchen sink, hopefully, in your composition. So I'm going to use my dauber and just roughly go through some of these square-like openings. They're kind of like kind of grungy squares. It's not perfect checkers, and I think that's going to look very cool because it kind of looks like little metal plates. Using a clean sheet or a scratch piece of paper, we can go ahead and put that underneath, and we're going to add some embossing powders, which, oh, look at this one. This one is from Wow. It is the Platinum Ultra High. I believe it's one of their new ones, and I'm pretty sure it is in stock. Give it a good shake, because remember, some of this stuff will actually settle. So even if, it's not in shipping, you still will have the heavier chunks, kind of gathered together versus the lighter one. So give it a bit of a shake, and you can see here those little cool checkers. Gonna pour the rest of it back in the jar. You use very, very little. I mean, it just looks like a lot, but when you put it all back, you can barely, you realize that you barely even, used any at all. So Wow embossing powders or embossing powders will last you for a long, long time. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of the, let me see, Rusty Keys, and hopefully it comes into focus, but it is Rusty Keys as well from Wow. This is one of my this is a turned out one of my favorites. I love all the Seth ones. Seth Apter, that is, for those of you who are not familiar. He has a lot of like the grungy ones, like the asphalt and the concrete and stuff like that, kind of industrial. And this Rusty Keys, it does look like Rusty Keys. I've used it in some other projects. I actually I think I'm going to do a class with the new ones. I have a class in mind. So you will see that, of course, in the Academy. If you're not a member of Spectrum Art Creations, or SACs Academy for short, then you're missing out, because there's a whole lot of classes in there and some fun techniques. All right, let's go ahead and heat this up. I'll leave some information about the Academy at the end and down in the description box too, in case you're wondering. But we're going to heat set this. I'm using my heated tool from Tim Holtz. You can see how cool that mix looks. It's magical. Uh, and I'm using my heated tool because even though I do have my heat gun, I don't want to blow any particles. I know it takes a little bit longer, and so you have to exercise patience. But again, I don't want to blow any of my pretty powders away. All right, now we're going to bring in two, only two, because we only need one for the top and the front and the top and the bottom. And I'm just going to randomly, lightly, here and there, like spot kind of um, add some of my embossing fluid from the dauber again. And I'm going to bring in here, I believe it's the platinum that I bring in first. I'll bring it up to screen here in a few, but we're going to start with basically similar colors and just kind of adding a little bit here and there. We don't want full coverage. We want to create that rusted look, right? That industrial steampunk look where it's metal that has been worn down and it's metal that has been banged up a bit. And then, of course, we're also going to bring in some additional colors and create some gorgeous patina and rust as well on this, just like we have on the main tag. But you see how the embossing powders also add texture because they are raised. So they add texture at the same time as they're adding, whether it's sheen or opaque. Oh, it was was it platinum? Hopefully it'll focus here in a second. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that says platinum. There it is, platinum ultra high. Okay, perfect. So, yes, they add different finishes. Some of them are opaque. Sorry about that. I got a phone call, of course, doctor's visits, right? Always in the most inopportune time. All right, we're adding some fern forest. Again, this is a new one and it's one of my favorites. It's so pretty. Wait till you guys see it. And it's interesting because I just happen to have it at hand because it is one of the new ones that I've been working with and just arrived. But usually this is not what I use for creating patina. So I thought, I'm going to try it. Let's see how it looks. And it looks great. So the other look, which again, the name kind of says forest, right? Fern. It's more of a nature-esque, like nature kind of foresty look when you use it. But it's interesting that you could do both. So yay, happy findings. As I was also saying, that the embossing powders have different finishes like opaque and clear and textured and ultra high, so you can get all kinds of different finishes depending on what you're going for, or like in this case, mix and match. So I'm going to come in and do a little bit more. Again, just play with your colors. This is what makes it so fun. Remember, when things are out in nature, when things are, whether it's a tree or even, a bush, some greenery, some leaves, nothing is uniform. There's lights, darks, there's little flecks. Now I'm going to throw some gorgeous, I think I'm going to throw some of the rust again on here. Yep, the rusty keys. So just play with all of the wow embossing powders. Just play with them, mix them. They turn out so amazing. Of course, some of these are already variegated, so they have multiple colors in there, and that just adds even more. So much fun. We're going to add a little bit of our powder here as well to the second piece because I had already added my embossing medium. And you can have embossing mediums in many different ways. I have done quite a few demos and classes and craft alongs with the embossing powders and the mediums. They come in ink pads, so you can use them as stamps. You can swipe them across. You have daubers, you have pens, you even have a brush on in a little bottle. And so there's all kinds of different applications and ways of applying this to your projects. Okay, we are now going to do something else. We're going to distress, not with an ink, but we're going to distress with embossing powders. Yes, do not forget, because sometimes we just kind of overlook it, that you can use your embossing powders for distressing or inking up your edges instead of using ink. We're going to use wow embossing powders. And does it give it a wow finish? Yes, indeed. You can already see it. Doesn't that just look like absolute patina and rust and like molten metal maybe on the side? Wait till you see the close-ups at the end. I will be sure to do some photos so that you can take a really good look at those finishes as well. I know I'm kind of um, a little further out, but I think it just allows for you to be able to see even more. All right, now chipboard. Again, chipboard is one of the elements that I think a lot of people overlook. Chipboard has so many advantages, from adding depth and height to texture to your projects, to they could be used for closures, they could be used for layering, they could be used for so many things. And as we had discussed this week, you can also create a matte look because you can use matte medium or the Andy Skinner super matte medium that we have in store. Any of those will also remove the shine off of your chipboard. Okay, now in this case, you could just leave it. I'm leaving it with the glow. Oh, this is so pretty. I was looking at that wing, so many possibilities. So this is a great chipboard set. But I'm after all those gears and maybe 1 or 2 sentiments only. So if you like the shine, which in this case I do because I'm going for that industrial, grungy metallic look, great. If you do not like it, well then you can always just go ahead and remove it. You can also make chipboard higher, right? Thicker by adding your 3D foam, uh, sticky foam, or you can also remove layers very carefully from the back of your chipboard to thin it out as well. All right, so now we're going to add one of the fully black matte, no embossing on this one, rings to create that first level of elevation. And then we're going to bring in our, what do we want to call it? Plastic? I want to call it glass because it really looks like glass. It is great, nice and thick. But we're going to add a little bit of our extra forte. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm using extra forte. Usually I use Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue for anything that's plastic or acetate. But since this was going to be sandwiched in between the layers, I wasn't too concerned that it would dry, with a little gloss or maybe not perfectly clear. So I use my extra forte. So I know it will be on there forever. And then I'm going to add now the decorative top piece with all of the wow embossing that we've done. And we have our front piece done. I'm going to end up removing her because she was totally in my way. I kind of put her and a couple of other pieces on there temporarily, but I end up removing them here shortly because I was like, oh, it's getting in my way. It's getting on my nerves. So yes, you might want to wait to add your extra bits after you've done all of this. Okay, we've got the front done. Now here is the back. We're going to adhere those two together. Again, one of the regular rings with the, sorry, I'm losing my voice. One of the regular rings with the acetate already glued onto it. And then we're going to put the decorative piece to sandwich the glass. Let's call it glass piece. Okay. It's plastic, Maddie. It's plastic. All right, go all the way around. Make sure we have great coverage. Again, we do not want any of our shaker bits coming out later on because that would be a disaster, right? That would be so sad. Okay, got it. Extra Forte is going to ensure that that is going to be on there forever. And now we need to decide, what are we going to add to this? Of course, we can add all kinds of fun bits. And that's what I was saying, depending on your theme. The sky is the limit. You could do a Christmas one and add like snow and snowflakes. You could do, oh my goodness, what? Anything. If you're doing maybe a rabbit one, you could add little carrots or orange little pieces in there. If you're doing you name it, right? An Art by Marlene one, you can add some really colorful confetti and whatever you have laying around, because it really does give you some really nice space to add little bits. So in this case, chipboard also will be included. See what I mean? Chipboard is taken for granted, but this set came with some little chipboard gears. So I'm going to throw some of those in there. I'm also going to throw some of those metal ones that we had in that cool container with all the little gears. So it's a mixture of both. And then I'm going to add some other bits to kind of help also move the pieces around. And for that, I'm going to use my glass.
Maddie, here is your reminder.
Yes, you guessed it. That was another interruption. That was Alexa now reminding me of things. Oh, it is like a madhouse in here, guys. I'm so sorry. But you know what? Let's keep it real. It is what it is. Okay, back to our show. We are going to add some micro beads. These are from Finnabar, from Prima. I'm adding a little bit of green to kind of go with that patina, and then some coppery colors. And then we're going to adhere this down. So we're going to go around it very carefully, not to knock this, because I am known for knocking things. I'm serious. I drop things all the time. So very gently, very carefully, we're going to go around and add our extra forte glue to ensure that this will be adhered forever. If you have not used extra forte, I cannot recommend it enough. I can't. It is amazing. This stuff will work on metal, on wood, on plastic. And when I mean extra forte, I mean extra forte. It will not come off. So make sure that you commit. It does give you some playtime though, which is nice. So if you change your mind, you can quickly remove. But once it's on, it's on. It's not coming off. Look at this. How cool is that? We have our shaker window. Love shakers. So interactive. And now we're going to add all of our little bits here. And then last but not least, I am going to insert an eyelet, and using my crocodile setter, I'm going to insert my eyelet. And then of course, later on, I will come back and do maybe some kind of a sari silk or something at the top. But here we go. We have our shaker super quick. Again, we didn't do any inking. Hopefully turning off the light will help with the glare and you can see right through. Isn't that super cool? Here's some still photos. I hope you like it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you will make one because it's going to be so much fun to do so. Again, can't wait to see your themes. You can see here now, see the embossing and how cool it looks to actually distress your edges as well as creating those patina finishes. I'm going to leave some other some other videos here at the end. Go ahead and click on one of those and we'll continue to craft along. I will see you there.